Everyone, okay, I decided to do another quick video. If you hadn't seen my first previous one, it was my perfumes and lotions video that I've been loving lately. Sorry, I just woke up like an hour ago maybe. I just had breakfast and yeah. So I'm just going to disclose right now that this is a serious video, that this video has trigger warnings for some of you that are probably going through some things, are in some type of things, or are still recovering from a few things. So if you do not want to watch a more serious, in-depth video, then go ahead and exit this video. I will have no qualms about it because what I'm about to talk about is more than deathly serious, more serious than anything you will probably ever hear, other than a couple of other different videos. So let's get started. Like I said, this is a fully disclosure. I'm disclosing it right now. I'll put the disclosure in the description box so you can pause this video and read that if you want to. But yeah, so this might be a lengthy video. This is going to be a very serious topic. And so yeah, so most of you know that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But did you also know it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month? I know there's a lot of you out there going through domestic violence situations, who've been in domestic violence situations and are still recovering. And for those of you still in your domestic violence situations, I wanted to tell you my story. And it actually started not when I was in a relationship, but when my mom was in a relationship. See, my mom was married to my dad. And then they got divorced when I was about 2, I want to say. I think I was 2. Then, my mom got with this new guy when I was about 3, I believe. 2, 3, yeah, 3, because then my sister came along. So yeah, so when he first got together with my mom, he was a great guy. You know, the whole song and dance, the guy wants to impress the kid and, you know, get into the kid and the family's good graces. And then, hold on, let me fix this light. That didn't help. I'm so sorry, you're going to have to just help. You just bear with me with the lighting. So, yeah. So he was trying to get into the family's good graces, and he did. Got married to my mom, knocked her up, had my sister. So yeah. So when I started getting older and started understanding things, I got diagnosed with diabetes at 5 years old. So I got juvenile diabetes, but I will save that for another video. When you're a child with diabetes, you don't exactly understand a whole hell of a lot. You don't understand that you have to take shots every day. You don't understand that, you know, you have to eat certain things. So, you know, when you want a cupcake or you want a popsicle because your sister's having a popsicle, of course you're going to get a little upset. Now, oh, sorry. Now, when I kind of would throw a little tantrum, because I was 5. How do you sit there and tell, I mean, you can sit there and try and explain to a 5-year-old that you can't have the cookies or suckers or, you know, the same thing your sister's having. So, when my mom was about, I think she was about 30 something about this time, she was going back to school for cosmetology. She was a great cosmetologist. I mean, she was amazing. But she went back every so often just to learn some new techniques and to get updated and, you know, things like that. So she was going back and forth to school, and I would stay home with my stepdad, and I would also stay home with my sister. But when my sister got old enough, we lived on I want to say like 5 acres of land. So it was like our trailer was like right here, and then right behind, literally like a fence um, separated the property, or separated the houses. There was a fence. She would go over to her grandma's. I couldn't do that since we lived on the outside of town. So, um, so when she would go over to her grandma's, he would be really mean to me. And I didn't exactly understand why. Why was he beating on me? Why was he doing all this stuff? And he was a very mentally sick man. Jasmine was his daughter. And she was like the pride and joy of his life for a while. Then, anytime she would do something wrong, I would get the blame for it. I got my butt spanked on a daily basis. My grandma told me the story that when we were about, or actually, I was about a year old, and so they were out at Red Lobster, or I'm sorry, they were out, at a restaurant eating, and I was crying, I was fussy. I mean, what are you gonna do with a 1-year-old? I'm laying there in my crib, or the car seat, the baby buggy thing at the restaurant, and I'm fussy and I'm crying, and they're all trying to eat. So he picks me up and takes me out of sight and beats my ass and brings me back, and I'm just whimpering at this point. I'm no longer crying, I'm whimpering. So everybody got their food to go, and my grandma took me back to the hotel and changed my diaper. And when she did, I had his handprint all the way up and down my back and butt. This is where the abuse started. So then I just thought that was a normal thing. I've seen my mom go through one domestic violence relationship after another, after another, after another. And and I've gone through therapy and everything like that. And my psychologist puts it as beaten puppy syndrome. Now, I don't know if that's a real technical term, but she describes it as if you sit there and you beat your animal, a puppy, a cat, a horse, a pet turtle. If you sit there and beat it and everything like that, they're going to confuse that with love and affection. Well, same thing goes for when you start doing it to a child. So that's where it all started from. So those of you that follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever like that, have been here for a while on my channel, know that when I was 19, I got married. I got married early because I got with this guy. He made me feel really great, because when you're a big woman in my town, especially when all the girls are the size of a pencil and just real skinny minis, when you have somebody who's starting to give you love and affection and attention, of course you're going to be just over the moon about it. So he was giving me all this love, all this attention, and then he proposed. And we got married. He proposed in January, and like 6 months later we were married in June. So yeah, then in July he took off, to the day, he took off with his brother to Texas, because we were having a hard time finding any jobs here where we live. We live in Arizona, or I live in Arizona now. I don't know where he's at. So yeah, so he took off for a month and went with his brother to go find work. Well, a month later, I think this was, about the end of August, because it was going to be my sister's birthday. I left a week before her birthday, and I took off over there, and I was working with him. We were working in this little, like, dollar kind of store. Yeah, I guess that's the best description of it. And we were working together. Well, then we all started, look, all three of us, me, my husband at the time, and my brother-in-law, were all looking for jobs. My brother-in-law, for some reason, was always up our butt about everything. Like, he had his sister there. They both had their sister there that lived in Texas. And for some reason, he had to be up our butt all the time. And I sat down with my ex-husband one time, and I told him, I was like, look, I'm so happy that your family's here with you, but you need to think about it this way. What if I was to bring my family along? You know, what if I was to bring my sister along and she was here with us all the time? You know, it was really, really annoying. So he was like, okay, I understand, I get what you're coming from, blah, blah, blah. It would be all good and gravy for a little while, and then he would start having his brother at our house all the time. I mean, there was no way to have an actual relationship without having his brother there, without it me, like, he was sharing me with him. So then I got a different job that he wanted. We all three of us applied for this job that was out at this chemical company working security. I ended up getting it, so I'm making probably 2 or 3 times more than he is. And he starts, first off, using me for the money. The money, we had a joint checking account. That was stupid on my part. That was the first thing. I should have got a separate checking account or something like that and put half on the joint and half on the other half on the, my account, because that was just dumb. He would literally go, he was so obsessed with guns and everything like that. He would go and take our money for bills and for me to eat and stuff like that, and go spend it on stupid things like bullets and camo crap. And I mean, I was with him for almost 2 years or something like that. I had never seen him go hunting or anything. I had never seen him get a hunting license. I never seen him put in for hunting. Nothing. So then, I'm just like, okay, whatever, that's what his hobby is, that's what he likes, whatever, okay, I'm just going to deal with it. Then he started telling me that I couldn't do my hobby. And for those of you who've been on this channel know that I love to do makeup, I love to sew and everything like that. He would let me do my crafting as far as sewing and knitting and stuff like that go. He wouldn't let me buy makeup. Even to go and buy like the really cheap e.l.f. like dollar eyeliner pencil and everything like that was like a big fight with us for some reason. So one, he was starting to get really controlling, and two, if I wanted to spend money on food so I could eat at work, it was a big old stink and everything like that. Yet he could go spend $400 or $500 in one hit to buy some stupid gun or to put a down payment on something that he's never gonna use. Okay, so there was that relationship. I eventually ended up leaving, and I finally divorced him and everything like that. So there wasn't a whole lot of physical abuse right there, but there was a lot of mental and controlling abuse. And if I would have stayed long enough, I guarantee you he probably would have started beating on me. I come to find out a couple months later that he had been cheating on me the whole time we were there. So yeah. So then the next relationship that was really serious, because I was dating around in college, I will admit that, but my first husband was my first serious relationship, and then the next guy I got with was beyond abusive. He was all great in the very beginning. He had his own place and everything like that. I was living out of my car because I didn't want to come back to Arizona. I was embarrassed. I felt like a failure. I had lived out of my car for 2 months. So then I got with this guy. At first it started out kind of like a roommate thing. I was just kind of staying there. I had a job and everything like that, but I was, working off car payments and some loans that I had done, so trying to get an apartment with whatever I had left over was kind of out of the question. And then I got let go. So, yeah, so it was a roommate thing for a while, and then eventually I was getting ready to actually start calling my family get me home, and it didn't turn out that way. He told me to stay. He wanted to be with me. So, yeah, so I stayed. First 6 months of the relationship were amazing. I mean, he would buy me, and he was disabled. He would buy me stuff all the time. We would go out, do all these amazing things. He'd take me out to dinner. He took care of me. You know, all those wonderful things. Then, about 9 months to a year into the relationship, he showed his true colors one night. And I don't know why. I didn't just grab my crap and leave. Maybe I was scared. Maybe I was tired of being alone. I don't know. He got drunk on gin. And I was so scared. He would grab me and shake me, and that's kind of where it started from. Then I was sleeping one night. I was asleep, and he came in, drunk off of his fucking mind, and I didn't want to be touched. I was not in the mood. I mean, you girls know, you know this. And you guys, some of you guys do too. I'm not saying domestic violence doesn't happen to men, because it does happen to men. It does. But, what ended up happening is it's called spousal rape. He did rape me that night. And in the state of Texas, common law marriage is legal. So if you've been together with somebody, whether it's shacked up or not, 6 months or more, you are in a common law marriage, just like in a lot of states. They do recognize it as that. So he continued to do what he was going to do on me, and he really hurt me that night, and got done, rolled over, fell asleep. He woke up the next morning and didn't remember shit. He didn't remember coming in. He didn't remember slapping me. He didn't remember shaking me down on the bed. He didn't remember ripping my panties off and doing what he did. But he promised over and over again that he wouldn't do it again. And I was stupid enough to say, okay, it was a one-time thing, whatever, I'll deal with it. You know, it's not that bad. A couple weeks later, he did it again. A couple months later, he did it again. And then he started punching me. Now, it would start with him holding a pillow in his hand, because I guess he figured that would soften the blow or something like that. He would get drunk on his benders and start punching the shit out of me. And it wouldn't be in the face. Oh, no, it'd be in the chest. It'd be in my ribs. It'd be in my back. It'd be everywhere that I could cover up with clothes. So I just stayed because I figured, you know, he made me feel like nobody else was ever going to love me. And he told me over and over again, that's why your ex-husband fucking cheated on you, is because you're a worthless piece of shit. Why do I need you? I could, you know, he would constantly tell me, oh, I could find a million other women. I can go find any bitch I want. I can do this. I can do that. And, you know, when you're told your whole entire life that you're never going to be good enough to be with somebody, that starts hurting. And then when the person you trust and love is telling you the same stuff over and over again, it really does something to your self-esteem. So, I'm sorry, I'm getting so emotional, but it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty hard to talk about this. So, that was in 2012. I'm sorry, my camera's getting all fuzzy on me. That was in 2012. In 2013, the abuse continued. He kept beating me a lot. And we moved from Texas to Arizona because my mom was tragically killed in a motorcycle accident with a wrong-way drunk driver. So we moved back to take care of, you know, whatever needed to be taken care of over here. and to take care of the house because my sister couldn't do it. So that was in 13. So the abuse continued. I'd go to work. I found a job at a local convenience store here, and I'd go to work. And if I wasn't, I would work second shift, so which that means I was working from anywhere from noon to 8 o'clock to 2 in the afternoon up until 10 o'clock in the evening. It would take, I live in a really small town, so it would take me anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on, what I needed to get done, if I needed to get gas, all that good stuff. It would take me that long. He would time it. If I was even a few minutes over, he would, start freaking out on me. And then when I would go over to my grandma's, he would just lose it and say that I shouldn't be going over there, there's no point in me going over there. And I snapped at him one time because his grandma did help us out a lot. I'm not even going to deny that. But I turned around and I told him, I was like, oh, so you can only show affection to people who buy it from you? Because she would give us money like crazy, and he would blame it on me why we needed the money. And I really honestly would tell him, we can deal without, we can do without. Because I would budget it, and we would have money left over if he didn't have to have cigarettes and beer and alcohol every single freaking day. And he would get mad at me saying that it was my fault that we needed money and stuff like that. Because, he had his little money that he was getting, plus he was getting food stamps. And I'm not going to lie, I do have my addictions. I have my soda addictions, and I'm addicted to candy and stuff like that. But I don't do it all the time. I do it once in a great while. And he would just blame me for things like that. So then we moved back, and we are getting ready for my mom's 1-year anniversary. And I had planned this big memorial party. That's all it was just to make memorial, like a celebrate your life kind of thing, celebrate her life. He started getting drunk. What was going to happen that day was that about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we were going to have a balloon release. Just to get everybody in, some spirits and just, get them going. Then we were going to have a dinner, and then we were going to go to her bar, this that she really loved to go to, and just have a big old dance and just, party and stuff. Sorry, I have to do a gist. So he started getting drunk about noon, 1 o'clock-ish. He started getting drunk on tequila. This man cannot handle hard liquor at all. So he started then. We did the balloon ceremony, and then we went to dinner, and he wouldn't eat. He didn't eat all day. So for those of you that like to drink know that, if you're drinking, the alcohol is going to hit you a hell of a lot harder. So he started drinking and drinking and drinking. It started with tequila, and then it went to a big pitcher of beer for himself. He would lie and say it's for both of us, but I don't drink, really. I mean, I drink rum every so often. Don't get me wrong, I do, but it's usually in a mixed drink, and it's usually for like a really special occasion, like weddings or New Year's or somebody's birthday. So, yeah. So he was getting pitcher after beer after pitcher after pitcher. And that was cool, whatever. I was letting him drink because I figured if I tried to stop him at the bar, he was going to do something to me. So then, well, actually, let me back up just a little bit before my parents' my mom's anniversary party. October 25th is my birthday. And I had to work on my birthday, unfortunately, which was no big deal, whatever. I mean, I've had to do it before. I had a couple of days off after that, and the 26th, he went and got liquor. He got me rum. He got him, you know, his gin. Got drunk off of his ass. I didn't really drink that much rum. And with him, you couldn't keep liquor in the house. There was no way. Even if you wanted to, I would make my own homemade vanilla. I couldn't even do it anymore because he would drink almost all of it before I could even have it turn into vanilla. It would just be vanilla flavored rum, vanilla flavored vodka. Keeping liquor in that house was impossible. So then, October 26th, he went out and got liquor, and we got food and all kinds of stuff like that. Had a pretty fun time. Watched movies, and he would sit out there, and he'd sit out in my truck and listen to music like he was, like, you know, back in the 70s, and, you know, just this hard rocker. He would try and, you know, be, like, all theoretical and, you know, try and think on a deeper level, which he didn't. He didn't. I don't know who the hell he was trying to impress, but he wasn't. So, yeah. So, he came in, and I was sitting there watching a movie, quietly, by myself, not bothering him, not saying a word to him or anything like that. And he came into the room, sat on the bed, looked me dead in the face, and said, "Open your mouth, and I'm gonna punch you in the fucking jaw." Yeah. And I just stared at him like, what do I do? I was stricken so hard with fear that I was afraid to move because I knew if I was going to move, he was going to beat the living hell out of me. He takes his fist and comes around and grabs me by the neck like that and starts hugging me, is what he said. Then it went from hugging to choking, and then he pushed me down off the bed. Got on top of me, sat on my rib cage right here, started punching the living hell out of me. And this time it wasn't just the body. It was my face, the back of my head, the top of my head. I'm surprised I didn't end up with a concussion. So I finally got him off of me, and he finally went to bed and passed out. So I went to sleep. A couple hours later, I hear him gagging and spitting up, and, you know, because, you know, when you don't eat and you drink, you know, drinking on an empty stomach is not a good idea. I don't recommend that for anybody. I don't care who you are. But yeah. So then he woke up and started throwing up on the floor. And he was so crazy about me showing up from work and stuff like that, that the mattress was actually in the living room. We were sleeping in the living room on the mattress. So I'm just sitting there listening, and he pushes me and tells me, "Wake up, you dumb bitch, and go get me a towel." So I go get him a towel, and I start cleaning up. He starts cleaning up the rug and everything like that. Or actually, he yelled at me to clean up the rug. And I tell him, "No, you need to clean up your own shit because I'm not the one stupid enough not to make it to the fucking bathroom or the kitchen trash can." Miraculously, he found the energy to get up off of his ass and slap me in the face, open palm to the face. And my nose starts bleeding. I think he freaking broke it. So I wait till the bleeding stops, and he didn't break it, thank God. But I'm sitting there screaming and crying and begging for him to stop. I'm telling him everything, "Baby, it's me. Baby, stop. Baby, stop. Baby, stop. Please stop." He's not hearing it. He has me up against a wall, choking me and beating me up some more. And so then, the 27th, this was like the 26th, going into the 27th. I wake up, and my eye and my face are in so much pain. It feels like I have fire ants in my eye, and it was this one. I go to the mirror, and there's blood in my eye, in this half of my eye, and you can see bruises. You could see his knuckle prints from this part of my cheek all the way up to my temple and up here on my forehead. And I had to go to work the next day, and I was so mad at him. I was furious beyond all belief. And he turns around to me and starts hugging me and trying to calm me down, telling me he doesn't remember doing that. So in my mind, you know, honestly, to me, my relationship was over months ago. He was just a tag along because I had come into some insurance money. I had a house, you know, with lower payments than anybody's rent, probably, and I was doing all this. And I was probably the only one that was going to put up with his crap. So then, like I said before, it was the year anniversary of my parents' death. He had been drinking all freaking day and drank till about, I want to say he stopped drinking about 6 o'clock because we ran out of money. And he was getting mad at me because I wouldn't give him any more money. He knew I had money because, you know, people were giving me money for late birthday presents and stuff. Because I was born on October 25th, and I didn't see a lot of my mom's biker friends until, because she passed away on the 9th, we had it on like the 8th or something like that. So yeah. So then he got into a fight with one of my stepdad's really good friends, and my stepdad passed away too. So this was a celebration for both of them. And they end up fighting right there at the bar, and he gets kicked out. And he's walking down the road, and he calls me on the phone asking me, "Aren't you gonna come fucking pick me up?" And I knew that if I did that, he was gonna beat my ass. Well, before I even picked up the phone, he was walking down the street, and a bunch of people were coming up, and they're like, "You need to take him home, you need to take him home." And I just finally broke. I looked at a bunch of my mom's friends and a bunch of my friends, and I told them, if I take him home, I will never see any of you guys ever again. He will kill me. He will beat the living hell out of me, and he will kill me. Because it wasn't the first time that he's ever threatened to kill me. He's put a knife to my throat. He's threatened to kill me over $100 that I didn't have with me. He had taken out some cash, and I don't know what he did with it, but he was blaming me for it, saying that I stole his money, and I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about until like 2 or 3 days later. So anyway, so I knew if I went home that night, I would not be sitting here making this video with anybody. So it took the courage of one of my friends who had been friends with me forever. He took me into his house because this was on a Saturday, and on Sunday morning we both woke up. I was still scared, shaking. He couldn't find me because he didn't know his way around town. I was hiding. We called the police, and we got an order of protection, and they went and arrested him that day to pick him up. And they threw him in jail for a week. Which really bugs me that they only threw him in jail for a week. Because this isn't his first domestic violence charge. He's had 2 in the state of Texas. But the reason I'm making this video is because I needed to tell my story. October is, you know, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it's also Domestic Violence Month. For those of you sitting here watching this video, I'm thankful that you actually sat here this long for the whole 30 or so odd minutes that I've been telling this story. And for those of you that are in a domestic violence situation, it's okay. There are places you can get out. And I know you've probably heard it a million, bajillion, gazillion times. Don't be afraid to get out, because you know what? It's not worth it. If I wouldn't have had the support of one of my friends and a whole town behind me, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be with a guy that absolutely loves me for all my craziness, all my flaws. I wouldn't be ready to move again to another state. I wouldn't be ready to start a life with him. I'd probably be dead. So for those of you that are too scared to move on or don't know how, there are so many helpful places. You can go anywhere. You can even go, if you have kids and you drop them off, you can go to the principal. I know that sounds really stupid, but you can go to the guidance counselor there and they will help you to get out of whatever situation you're in. You're not stuck. Even if you're married, you're not stuck. You never will be stuck in a relationship like that. And from you men, too, who are in relationships with crazy women who are threatening, to keep your kids and everything like that, she can't do that. You make that one domestic violence call on her, and I'm pretty sure any court of law will, see that she's not very fit to be a parent, and you will be able to see your kids. Don't stay in a relationship for just your kids, because it's not worth it. Take it from somebody who's come from a family of divorce. I've seen my mom be in abusive relationships, and all I wanted to do was get her out of there, and there was nothing I could do because I was too young. So if you're really just staying in a relationship of domestic violence just for the kids, don't do it, because you're going to screw them up even more. My mom did, and it's taken me this long. I'm 25 years old, and I still got a lot of healing and growing to do. But you stay in a domestic violence relationship, and it's going to screw them up more. It may not affect them now, because they might be little. But if you have kids that are older, it's going to affect their relationships down the line, because they're going to think a man or a woman beating them is love. And it's not. Just remember that if he's telling you that you're a piece of shit and you're not worth it, no. He or she is the one that's a piece of shit and not worth it. Because they know that. They know that if you leave them, they're probably not going to ever find anyone any better. So I hope you find the courage and the strength to move on. And I pray that this video doesn't catch you too late. I hope that this video helps you figure out what you need to do. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid to tell anybody. Because if things go down and things go bad one of these days, the only person that can really help you is yourself. And even if you just tell your neighbor, you tell your kid's teacher, you tell anybody, it's better than not saying anything at all and something happening and they'll never know. But yeah, sorry this video was so long. Sorry this video was so emotional. But everybody needs to hear some words of encouragement, whether it be from me, whether it be from, if you're a faith or religious person, someone of faith, whether it be anybody. Know that you're worth it, that you're worth love and you're worth hope. And just know that no matter what, someone does love you. And if you haven't heard it today, then you'll hear it now. I love you. And I hope and pray for you. Just you. You are beautiful. You are handsome. You are worth it. You are worth every bit of love. And you are worth everything, no matter what somebody says. It took me a long time to realize that, and it took me a little while to know that I'm worth more than just a gin bottle, that I'm worth more than just a packet of cigarettes, and so are you. Anyway, I'm sorry for the long video. Like I said, this is already like 40 minutes long. I thank you for those of you that were willing to sit here and watch me get emotional and watch the little advice that I did have for you. But I love you all so very much, and I thank you all for supporting my channel. And if you know somebody who's possibly in a domestic violence relationship, share this video with them, because maybe this will be the little push that they need. So I promise the next video is not going to be so somber and sad and everything like that. It'll be more upbeat and more happy. So I love you all so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!